like, the physical dimensions of Mr. Johnson?
The physical dimensions? No.
You know if he was 180 pounds and I think 6'1"? Do you know that? Does that sound about right to you from what you read?
I think it was reflected somewhat in the police report, but I guess it sounds about right.
Okay.
I don't really know.
Okay. Well, if he was 6'1" and 180, would that make you think, or without any sort of, cane or walker, right? You expect that he would be able to cross the road at a certain, let's use the word normal, whatever that means, rate of speed, right?
I believe in my report, I put a range of pedestrian walking speeds in there, yes.
Okay. No, but see, the range you had is for general population, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But do you know about Mr. Johnson?
I don't know because I'm only referring to Mrs. Johnson's testimony where she talked about them, I believe, hustling to get across or something like that. So
hustling to get across.
That's my terminology. I don't know what her exactly words were.
Well, sir, you profess to be an expert, right? And you're giving us opinions in this report. So wouldn't it be fair that if you're the rate of speed of the Johnson walking, isn't that an important factor in your analysis in this case? The timing?
Yes, sir. That's why I put it in the report.
And would you agree that if it's an important factor, that you should try to be as specific as you can? Correct?
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay. And would you agree, sir, that having just a general range of the population isn't the most specific information you could put in there, correct?
The estimate I provided was based on my review of the testimony. That was in there, yes. I believe that what I provided in there was quite specific, sir.
You believe that, but the number you got in there is from a general estimate of the general population, right? It's the range.
The entire population, yes, sir.
Exactly. Mr. Johnson's not the entire population, correct?
He's within the entire population, yes.
Sir. The range that you provide for the entire population, clearly, right, is not specific to Mr. Johnson, right?
He's a subset of the entire population.
Fair enough. But that's exactly my point. Did you do anything, sir, to determine where in that range Mr. Johnson fits in?
That's why I provided the range in my report. I believe he was in.
You're not answering the question. Did you do anything to determine where in the range Mr. Johnson fits in?
Well, since Mr. Johnson was deceased, I don't know how I could do that, sir.
Okay. Did you ask? Did you see any testimony about Mr. Johnson's physical ailments before this incident?
His physical ailments? I believe Mr. Johnson discussed some of that, yes.
Oh, okay. Would that be potentially, important to how fast he could walk?
She discussed how fast they were walking.
No, sir. She said they were hustling. She used the word hustling, correct?
I said I used the word hustling. I don't know what word she used. She said they were moving quickly. He was in front of her. If she's testifying that they're moving quickly and he was in front of her, I don't know why I would consider the fact that perhaps you're saying that he couldn't move all that fast. Again, how that figures in to assume he was moving slower than her would be inconsistent with the testimony.
Let's distract it on a response. Sir, I'm asking, would it be relevant to determine, right, his rate of speed, or walking speed, to your analysis in this case? And you said that it would, right? No, it wouldn't be relevant. No, it would not be relevant. So if Mr. Johnson's a 300-plus pound man with pre-existing, mobility issues, right? Arthritis, bad knees, bad back. To you, that's irrelevant in the analysis of whether or not he can cross the street safely. That judgment he has to make at the curb. Is that your testimony?
That's inconsistent with his wife's testimony, Mrs. Johnson's testimony, how fast they're moving. Mrs. Johnson were using a walker.
Answer my question. You agree that the term relative, the quickly, is relative and does not provide much information?
Yes, I would agree with your relative term. Yes.
Well, just because she said they were moving quickly, did you see any testimony about what she meant by quickly?
No.
Did you see any testimony about, well, sure, guys. Did you see Mr. Pena's testimony?
Mr. Pena, I believe I did review that, yes.
What did he say about how Mr. Johnson was walking?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
If Mr. Pena said that Mr. Johnson was walking slowly, would that change your analysis in this case?
Again, as you pointed out, quickly is a relevant term, slowly is a relevant term. So.
Okay, no, but if Mr. Pena says he was moving slowly, and he wasn't moving very fast, he was a very big man,
Right.
would you agree that that would impact your analysis?
Objections.
I don't believe so, only because Mrs. Johnson testified they were moving quickly. She's in the middle of the street. I would imagine that, again, as you pointed out from a self-preservation standpoint, they want to move quickly to get across the street. So I don't know why I would consider Mr. Pena's testimony over the person who was actually in the street.
Well, sir, do you believe it's your role to pick and choose who's more credible?
If there's evidence to support or not support, I accept all testimony as it's presented. I have no idea how to change. I'm not an expert at telling when people are lying. I am only an expert in the engineering issues, and if there's something that compromises someone's testimony, then I point that out.
So you would agree then that as far as you're concerned, Mr. Pena's testimony and Ms. Johnson's testimony carry the same weight, or should carry the same weight in your analysis, because you don't know these people, right?
No, that's not what I said. I said Mrs. Johnson's testimony, as she was the one crossing the street, carries more weight than Mr. Pena's.
How is that, sir? They're both witnesses. One is telling you she perceived it as quickly. The other one tells you that what she perceived as quickly, I perceived as slowly. You don't know who's right, correct?
I don't, sir. You're right.
Okay. If Mr. Pena is correct, then you would agree that that should change your analysis in the case, correct?
I can only imagine from this line of questioning that your experts have calculated a much lower walking speed for Mr. Johnson.
Sir, answer my question.
I don't know how to answer your question, sir. It's relative.
Assume that Mr. Pena is correct, and the plaintiff was walking, and Mr. Johnson was walking rather slowly across the street. Would that change your opinions in the case?
Not necessarily.
What does that mean?
No, it would not change my opinion.
Okay. So if Mr. Johnson was a very slow walker who came to the curb, and knowing that he's a very slow walker, saw the car, Dispatch's car, and still decided to cross the street, that would not have any change in your opinion?
Objection to the form.
Regardless of how slow Mr. Johnson is walking, he was in an unmarked crosswalk at the intersection. He had a reasonable expectation that the cars would yield the right of way to him.
Another factor that should be taken, would you agree that another factor that a reasonable person should take into consideration when crossing the street is the time of, we covered the daylight versus nighttime, we covered familiarity, we covered the speed of the road, right? We covered the walking speed. These are all factors you would agree that they should